Test 1 2 3 test 1 2 3 test 1 2 3 test 1 2 3.
So I hope you guys liked that little intro. My name is Alex Kaplo, and I just wanted to make this quick first video on YouTube to kind of introduce myself and, to really be as transparent as possible and to share with you a little bit of my story. So what I don't want to do in this video, unfortunately, is talk to you about Kindle book publishing or talk to you about making money online. In fact, I want to do none of those things. What I do want to talk about are certain things that people have been approaching me with, certain questions, such as number one, who the heck are you, right? Number two, how did you get here? And number three, how can I do the same for myself, be able to provide for myself at a high level and my family, not only the necessities, but certain luxuries for them as well, right? So that's kind of what I want to share with you in this first video. I want to share with you my entrepreneurial journey so far, tell you the honest truth, because it seems like everywhere you turn, everyone you listen to, every ad, every 30-second ad on YouTube, right, telling you how easy it is to basically make money, change your life, boom, just like that, and the reality is it's not so simple, right? It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it is not a straight line. And if you've kind of heard that old saying that success isn't a straight line, right? It's actually the opposite of a straight line. Well, it's kind of the truth. Hopefully through this story that I'm going to share with you, my personal journey, hopefully you'll find certain key points that you can relate to. Hopefully you'll find it insightful, and hopefully it'll basically give you a new perspective on how things evolve over time and how you can achieve success for yourself. So here goes. My name is Alex Kaplo, if you didn't catch it in the beginning of the video. I'm 29 years old. I'm actually going to turn the big 30 next month. And if the Tim Hortons coffee didn't give it away, yes, I'm Canadian. I'm born here in Montreal, Canada. Oui, je parle français aussi. I was raised by parents that immigrated to Canada from Egypt. I'm also a quarter Armenian, some Lebanese, some Greek. So I'm a giant cocktail full of a bunch of different cultures. So that makes it quite interesting. I grew up in a middle-class household. My parents did absolutely everything to provide for me and my brother. Really, we never felt like we lacked anything. And, I grew up in a very comfortable household. But that doesn't change the fact that, along the way, I started noticing that, other people had certain luxuries that we didn't have. So that kind of created some kind of void in me, right? I always looked at these other people that could not only afford the necessities, but also certain luxuries, right? Boats, trips that were extravagant, and just to name a few. And I always kind of looked at these people as other people, something that I would want to strive for when I grow up. And deep down inside me, I always wondered, what these individuals did differently, right? What did exactly did they do to achieve success for themselves? How were they able to produce and make more money and provide at a higher level, right? So along the way, this kind of made me super curious. So it kind of created this natural attraction. I kind of naturally was attracted to that because it was something that I never experienced in my own life, right? I never had that. So combine that with the fact that as far back as I can remember, I've been an introvert, super shy kid, always was very reserved. And when you combine that wanting to strive with being an introvert, that made me spend a lot of time reading, being by myself, studying these people that in life have achieved a lot of success for themselves. And it made me read a lot of their books, study them, and trying to identify ways that I can also mimic their success and achieve what these people had achieved for themselves. Along the way, what I did is that I couldn't really figure out what I was going to do or what was going to bring me there. I just started creating these micro businesses, right? Whether it was selling DVDs, selling stuff on eBay, doing a whole bunch of stuff to try to figure out what was gonna make me money. Because the one thing I did identify is that if you wanted to succeed, you needed to get into a vehicle that was a business, in the form of a business, right? Being your own boss was the real way to basically escape the 9-to-5 rat race, right? That was kind of the hidden gem that was behind what all these people I was learning about this is what they were all preaching, that you had to get yourself into a vehicle that basically you don't trade time for money. Ever since I was about 16, 17 years old, I was selling computer parts. I was selling a whole bunch of stuff on eBay. That was kind of my go-to, that passiveness, right? It gave me that way of detaching myself from trading time for money. I basically could just put the listings up, make money, and ship the products, make money and ship those products while working, while studying at the same time. What had happened is that my eBay account, which was my side hustle, had finally come to an abrupt ending, like I was kind of used to. Every business I had started since then, I had quite skillfully crashed them. And this was no different, because of a change in the rules of eBay. At the time I was selling ebooks. They had basically changed the rules that you can no longer sell ebooks, and I probably didn't get the memo, or I was too busy doing other things, daydreaming, and I basically continued selling it up until the point that they shut down my account. And that was literally a tragedy for me, because that was my side hustle, that was my escape, right? That was my way to eventually free myself. So when that happened, I kind of didn't know what to do. And what ended up happening is that I started searching for alternatives, right? I had these ebooks that I was selling and that I could no longer sell on the platform, and I started looking for other ways of selling them. And what I had stumbled on is Amazon, right? Amazon was another option, and I didn't know how it worked, but what I decided to do was just create a Kindle account for myself and basically put the same books that I was selling on eBay, how-to books, and basically put them on Amazon, put them on Kindle, and see if they would work or not. And what ended up happening is that a few months went by, and I ended up getting a check in the mail, right, from Amazon. And this was before Amazon was actually doing electronic deposits in Canada. They were actually sending you a check in the mail. And I remember opening it, and it was about the equivalent of 200 Canadian dollars, right, if you do the conversion and whatnot. And I remember saying to myself that, I might have stumbled on the next best thing, right? eBay had kind of shut its doors, but maybe, through luck or through whatever reason, I found this next best thing. So basically what I ended up doing is learning more about it, learning how the Kindle business works, how I could basically publish more books. I started buying more courses. Eventually what ended up happening is that I just put it aside, right? I kind of let things go on cruise control. I was getting a check every month in the mail, and basically I didn't think too much of it. It was just a passive income source that I would spend only a few hours a day, or not even a day, a few hours a week on, and that was about it. So while this was going on, right, I was still going to school. I wasn't the best student. I was getting really piss poor grades. I've always been kind of a bad student at school, and I actually failed third grade a few times. And somehow, some way, I managed to get to university. And I really struggled, to be quite honest with you, with going to school or not, getting a formal college degree or not. But finally, I caved in and I decided to do it. I did a BCom and a major in marketing. And I don't have any regrets, to be quite honest. However, it was a real struggle for me, being the entrepreneurial kind. I really didn't want to follow any kind of structure. I wanted to do my own things. It was really tough for me. And, I failed a lot of classes. And, I can make an entire video on that for another time. But along the way, after I graduated, I got a regular job, an office job downtown of my city, Montreal. Everything seemed good. At least that's what I told myself. I was making good money. I was still living at home, and I was saving a lot of money, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. But deep down inside me, I knew that, based off everyone that I had studied, that if I ever wanted to free myself and be like one of those people that, that I had read about and that I heard about and I watched countless videos on, that I needed to detach myself from trading time for money. I needed to detach myself from being an employee to an employer. So it took a lot of time, to be quite honest with you, because I was so comfortable. There was no real pressure for me unless if I kind of cornered myself against the wall to basically strive for something more, right? I was making good money, I had good benefits, working downtown in a nice office with the view of the entire city, skyscrapers, you know, everything that basically a person would long for. I had those things, but for some reason, especially if you're the entrepreneurial kind, you'll relate to this, it wasn't something that made me happy. So deep down inside me, I would go into work, you know, I would take the metro back and forth, and there was this little voice inside the back of my head, and it kept telling me, you've studied this stuff, you know this stuff, don't settle for where you currently are. Go at least try to, push yourself to do those things that you've always longed for, right? So what had happened is that I was literally in a fight with myself every single day, going to work, spending time in the metro. I would be literally reading the books that I of these people that I studied while going to work. So it created this huge conflict inside of me. I was literally battling two worlds, the world of being an employee and the studying being an employer. And I had all this formal education, I had a business degree. I had joined incubators, business incubators. Those are kind of programs that help you start and launch your own business. Again, that's probably another video for another time. And I had worked for a few startups. I had all this knowledge, yet I wasn't executing because of, being comfortable, massive fear, because I've never attempted something like that in my entire life. I literally was in a conflict daily. So I decided to double down on this Kindle Publishing business. I decided to basically implement a lot of those lessons, a lot of those strategies that I had learned in those courses while working a job. So basically, I was still going to my job. I was basically, by the time I got home from the metro and whatnot, it was about 6 p.m. And I would work about till 1 a.m. in the morning, and I would basically build up this book publishing business as a side hustle. And I did that for several months. And unfortunately, I wasn't the best employee, because I would walk in every single morning looking like a zombie at work because I hadn't gotten much sleep. However, if you have a dream, you need to really push yourself to achieve that dream. And mentally, you need to put yourself in a corner that there is no plan B. Kind of like the old saying goes, you have to kind of burn the boats in order to basically succeed, because if you're stuck in comfort right now, then you're never gonna be able to push yourself to the next level. So I was sleep deprived, I was going to work, but I was still pushing myself at the highest level to basically grow this business to at least make, a couple of thousands, at least $2,000 to $30,000, so I can support myself, so I can be able to pay my bills. That's really what I wanted to achieve, because I knew if I could make, a couple of thousand online, that I could duplicate that and grow it, right? That was kind of my mission. And long behold, I did achieve that. I did achieve that for myself while working, while being sleep deprived. And it wasn't long before, at work, I wasn't performing at the level I was supposed to be. And that's kind of when I sat down with my employer. So basically, I was told that I was being let go because of a multitude of reasons, some being performance, some being at the company level, it wasn't doing the numbers that it should be doing. Anyway, the point is, looking back, it really did affect me, because for the first time, what I was doing as a side hustle would become my main thing. And up to that point, I had hit my income goals, but when you've only hit your income goals for a few months, you don't know if you can depend on this now to eat. If you always treat it as a side hustle, and all of a sudden you're told overnight that this side hustle needs to be your main income. Basically, I told myself that this side hustle would become my main income. I could have easily went to go get another job. However, I didn't want to do that, because, like I said, looking back, I think that was the signal I needed to completely push myself, to completely burn all the boats, not even keep a canoe in there. So looking back, it was extremely scary for me because I had consciously, made the decision that I would take the leap and be my own boss completely, that I would, at least reserve the next few years into completely being focused in growing this Kindle book publishing business. It was a conscious decision that I told myself that, after this job, I would focus completely on it. And that's really what I did. For the next few months after that, I really doubled down on it, tripled down on it, bought as many courses as I could find, got my hands on as much information, articles, YouTube videos that I could possibly find. And all I was doing day and night was focusing on growing this business. And that's really how I got to this. And that's really how I got to the point that it was starting to make a significant income. In fact, I believe in 2019 is when I first hit my first six-figure year. So that was quite remarkable. And, looking back on that, yes, it did take a lot of work. Yes, it did. Yes, I had to do a lot of sacrifices, but it was all worth it. And what I had longed for the longest time, being my own boss and whatnot, had finally come true. So what had happened is that I kind of had automated that entire business. I had a virtual assistant in almost every position that involved the business because my ultimate goal was to take me out. I had this business for myself. I was making great money, and that's when I decided to launch another business, and that was online personal training. And I did that, and I still do that today alongside with my brother, and I found an underlying issue, which was the same issue I had personally experienced myself. People that wanted to have disposable income but didn't because, they had so many responsibilities. They had kids, they had to pay for this, they had to pay for that. People didn't have time for themselves because they didn't have the disposable income, because they were stuck trading time for money. People wish they could do this. They can start something that can make them money passively, right? Of course, you have to work for it. And that's kind of the reason what made me do this video. And this is kind of where it goes full circle. And that kind of brought me back into my Kindle publishing business, right? Nothing gave me the independence and the quickest road to success than utilizing Amazon, specifically Kindle book publishing. I've done almost every business opportunity imaginable. There is no better vehicle, and you're basically using their entire logistics, you're using their entire customer base, their entire marketing to your advantage to run this business. And nothing has given me the scale that Amazon has. And that's kind of what I want to do with this channel today. I want to share with you my entrepreneurial lessons. I want to share with you how you too can basically start a Kindle book publishing business. I know what it feels like being in my shoes a few years ago, where I didn't know what to do, or I didn't know what works, who to follow, who to listen to. I didn't have that voice. I didn't have anybody to guide me. I was basically throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks. I guess just kept throwing stuff, and I went through a ton of trial and errors. My goal is basically to show you how to achieve this independence, this financial freedom, because then you could do pretty much what you want to do. You can launch the kind of businesses you want after that you want to do. You can invest your money the way you want to do. You can treat your family. You could do the things that you always wanted to do, kind of what I was able to do. So hopefully through my story, you can see that you don't have to be perfect. You can see that, success isn't a straight line. It's actually quite wobbly. And now I'm just coming full circle, and I want to show you the process, and I look forward to talk to you very, very soon. Stay tuned for the next video. Peace out.